Guys, here we go. A different hour than you're used to seeing me at, that's for sure. But welcome to the World Cup recap. Daily uploads during the group stage, and the publishing time is temporary until we get to the final match days, where we'll start uploading at something closer to our regular upload times. The 5 a.m. kickoffs make publishing on the day of matches a must until the next Monday. So 1 week of weirdness. Cool? All right. The World Cup has begun, as you know. Let's go over everything from groups A and B today. Hey, if you're new here and want a hub to come back to after every match day, subscribe. Join us on this journey. Not sure what happened with the sign there, but the World Cup kicked off on Sunday with host Qatar playing against an Ecuador side that hadn't conceded a goal in ages. 6 consecutive friendlies, 4 draws and 2 wins, and not a goal conceded for Ecuador. Qatar, they had basically been treating their national team like a club team in preparation for this tournament, with the group being together since June of this year to train and prepare. Enter Valencia had seemingly scored the opening goal in the tournament after just 3 minutes, but that automatic offside system came into play. The commentators were actually discussing this automated offside system during the match, and it's wild how far the tech has come. They now have a chip in the ball that sends a signal to the system after every touch, so they can better identify when the touch came for an offside player in comparison to where the offside player was when that touch occurred, down to the millisecond. Doesn't help for anyone who hates those, width of a hair offside calls, but the tech is cool. Anyway, while the tech is cool, the call itself was a tough one to work out. A lot of people confused as Estrada's foot was ahead of the keeper, who becomes the second to last defender in this situation. Kind of similar in a way to that Benzema offside goal from the Champions League final, kind of. I mean, it was ridiculous to understand in the moment. Everyone was trying to figure it out. Valencia thankfully had the opportunity to claim that first goal of the tournament once again, this time from the spot, as Ecuador did well to pick their moments to play between Qatar's back 5, which was pretty leaky, and Valencia was tripped up by Qatar keeper Saad Al-Shib. No doubt in the referee's mind there, and then Valencia converted from the spot. The second half was much of the same, Qatar looking really poor, to be honest with you. Ali had one nice chance toward the end of the first half, but in the second, they were all snatching at chances, taking pot shots from distance. I mean, they accumulated an XG of 0.32 from 5 attempts, so there was not much of a pulse from Qatar. Senegal-Netherlands was a great early matchup in this tournament, as we got our first glimpse of Senegal, champions of Africa, but without their talisman, as well as Netherlands, who have been so good under Van Gaal, and this is his sort of last dance tournament with the national team. Senegal looked fantastic, so tricky in wide areas. They were able to play their way through that Netherlands back 5 on plenty of occasions, but the organization of the Netherlands in defense, and with midfielders like Frenkie de Jong dropping and contributing, there was often an answer to every Senegal attack, even if they were beat one-on-one. There was someone there to cover. As for Netherlands, they too could cut through the Senegal back line, at least in that first half, doing so twice in the first 15 minutes, but just lacking in the final ball or the final touch needed to put it past Mendy. Some misses at the back post, dawdling on the ball in De Jong's case. It was honestly a pretty open match in that first half, and the kind of match that you would expect Sadio Mane to thrive in, which is a shame for them. But to be fair to Senegal, I want to give the rest of the squad respect as well. Yes, Mane is the star, and that shines the brightest for them, but Diatta and Sarr were absolute menaces for that Dutch backline in their own right. Kouyaté was pretty brilliant in the midfield prior to his injury. Sabali was fantastic down that right flank. Senegal were impressive. It was a toss-up after that first half on the balance of play, but the better chances fell to Netherlands in that first half. Dia tested Noppert after about an hour in the second half, probably the best save Noppert had to make until that point, as both teams' defenses did well to cancel each other out as things rolled on. The chances were fewer and further between, but you could argue that Senegal looked the more dangerous in that second half. In fact, I would argue that, but their decision-making in and around the box was a bit questionable at times. They too were snatching at chances when they had better options, etc. Classic, first match of the tournament stuff. Speaking of injuries to Kouyaté and snatching at things, Nadi de Jong really snatched at Kouyaté's balls and injured the man, huh? Interested to see the injury update after the match. I mean, he was stretchered off after that ruthless attack on his manhood from Frenkie de Jong. It was shameful stuff. But the Netherlands, after going very quiet in that second half, finally came alive to get their goal in the 84th minute. Dutch Footballer of the Year, Cody Gakpo, the 23-year-old, got on the end of De Jong's ball into the box, and he caught Edouard Mendy lacking in no man's land. Poor from Mendy on that occasion, and unlucky for Senegal, who continued to test Norbert, but were shut out. 2-0 Netherlands after a late one from Klaassen. Great showing from Senegal. Scoreline doesn't do them any justice. Netherlands are completely level with Ecuador in the standings. Qatar are bottom and Senegal third. And that battle between Senegal and Ecuador on match day 3 is looking like one to watch. England versus Iran had a very lengthy delay in the first half as Iranian keeper Alireza Berenvand took a blow to the face but continued on, which was a bit of a surprise. They had their second choice keeper warmed up on the sidelines. Berenvand was moving around very slowly and clearly concussed. And then he stayed on, only to get subbed off shortly after. I mean, you can understand why he wanted to stay on. It's the World Cup after all. But I mean, there was no way he could have or should have continued. Surprised the medical team even let him test it out following that, given how slowly he was moving. I mean, it was clear he didn't know what he was doing. Honestly, the most dangerous man for England in the first half was Harry Maguire, who had 2 chances from set pieces and crosses into the box, the second of which he headed off of the bar despite getting grappled. England with Trippier as their set piece taker, with someone like Maguire out there, who, say what you will about his defensive lapses, he's a threat from set pieces, especially when he pulls on that England shirt. And of course, when crossing from those wide areas, England had players arriving late in the box, arriving when the defenders are already standing still, a bit static. And that's a great way to kill them, just as Jude Bellingham did with a glancing header past the keeper. Still just 19 years old, he scored England's first of this tournament, his World Cup debut goal in his World Cup debut, a continuation of the great season he's having with Dortmund. The more the half went on for England, the more comfortable they got. And before the half was up, though, it was another young fella pushing England forward, Bukayo Saka, with a great deflected volley that looped in past the keeper. But again, tons of credit to Harry Maguire, who headed it down for Saka. He's just such a huge asset from set pieces, whether heading at goal or setting it for his teammates. He's dominant with that England shirt on in a way that he fails to be with United. And there was another before the half was up, a quick counter from England as Bellingham broke through the lines on the dribble before dishing to Kane, who whipped it into Sterling. Solid finish. Sterling needed that after a tough start at Chelsea. Again, Bellingham showing off everything he does well. Strong on the dribble, great at progressing the ball forward in that way. I love a midfielder that does that. That's why I enjoy Renato so much. Direct midfielders that can progress the ball both with their passing and on the dribble. And England got 3 more in the second half. Saka with his second, Rashford, Grealish all making it 6-2. So what did we learn from this one? England can kill teams that play with a high line and from set pieces. Iran's high line as the match went on was a bit puzzling. And as good as they are going forward, how seriously do we take the 2 goals that they conceded and that other chance Azmoun hit off the bar? Could be seen as cracks in the defense, or could be seen as a team losing concentration as they pull further and further away from their opponent, as England did. By the way, this match must have set the record for added time. 14 minutes in the first half, 10 in the second, and that's just what was guaranteed by the ref. They played beyond those. Also, turns out Iran looked like a team who had just a couple of matches under their manager prior to the tournament. Oh wait. The USA versus Wales, the 2 teams you'd expect to fight for second. I mean, with all respect to Iran, of course. They faced off in their Group B opener, and Wales looked shaky in the early exchanges. Without the ball, they looked weak and porous in defense. And in the rare occasions they did get the ball, they seemed to be in a hurry to lose it. I mean, I think Bale didn't even get his first touch of the ball until around the 20th minute mark or something like that. It was bad from Wales. The United States were absolutely the better team early on in this game, as Robinson was a menace down the left flank. Rodon almost converted in his own goal in that first half. Sargent nearly scored with his first touch of the game as he had a header go off of the post. I mean, the States were by far the better team in the first half. And while laboring around the box away from home is often what they end up doing, not taking chances, they got their breakthrough after 30 minutes when Pulisic played Weah through and he slid it under the keeper. Brilliant run, by the way, cutting in diagonally from the right, all alone, and a lovely run and ball from Pulisic. USA absolutely deserved the lead. Wales couldn't get air in that first half. They were essentially begging to get to their locker room for halftime so that Paige could give them some direction and change things up. And that happened. They were much better in the second half. I mean, For one, they could actually hold on to the possession for more than, 5 seconds. They could cycle it around a bit. And they brought Nico Williams into the match down the left flank. They had Bale drop a bit deeper at times to get on the ball a little bit more in the build-up. Great pressing to force mistakes out of the States higher up the pitch. It was way better all around from Wales. They nearly equalized from a diving header from Ben Davies. Then Kiefer Moore had a header from the ensuing corner go just over the bar. Kiefer Moore was a game changer, by the way. And they found the way through eventually with 10 minutes to go. A smart, quick throw-in sent Ramsey through in behind the defense, and his cutback to Bale saw Walker Zimmerman slide right through the man. I mean, boneheaded challenge. Definite penalty, and Bale blasted it past Matt Turner. Despite a couple of chances for either side, 1-1 was the final. Probably a fair result for the two teams, perhaps the States leaving with a little regret that they didn't put away another chance, but the same could be said of Wales as well. So, England the out-and-out leaders, and predictably, Wales and the USA very close, 1 point apiece, Iran at the bottom. So that's it for day one of my coverage. I appreciate you guys joining me today, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe. Aside from that, have yourself a great day, guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.